The creative power of your words. What if the words leaving your mouth today are the very blueprints shaping your financial reality tomorrow? This is not philosophy, nor is it a metaphor. It is spiritual law. Words are not casual sound waves floating into empty space. They are verbal decrees carrying authority, structuring the unseen, and summoning the visible. Every time you say I am, you are not merely describing yourself. You are writing law in the court of divine supply, a law the universe has no choice but to obey. Florence Scoville-Shin understood this principle with absolute clarity. She taught that the tongue is not a simple organ of communication, but a throne of creation. What you say about money, about yourself, about your future, about your life, becomes the architecture of your destiny. Every casual complaint, every careless joke, every whispered doubt is not harmless. It is spiritual legislation. If you declare, I can't afford that, you have just issued an order that ensures you will remain unable to afford it. If you say, money never stays with me, you have instructed money to treat you like a stranger. But when you declare, I am wealthy, you command invisible forces to organize themselves into visible provision. The first recorded act of divine manifestation was a spoken decree. Let there be light. The universe was built not by silent thought, but by spoken command. And because you are created in that image, your words carry the same authority. The moment you say I am, you are stepping into the same creative mechanism that birthed galaxies. The only difference is direction. Will you use it to call forth abundance, or will you unknowingly argue for lack? This is why so many people struggle financially despite working hard. They hustle, save, invest, and chase opportunity, but their speech cancels their effort. They wake up, look at bills, and declare, this is too much. They laugh with friends about being broke. They sigh, I'm just trying to make ends meet. And then they wonder why their financial reality does not change. Hard work cannot override the authority of constant decrees of lack. Spiritual law does not bend to hustle. It bends to the spoken word. The truth is, you are not poor because of the economy, your background, or even your present circumstances. Poverty is most often a confession spoken repeatedly disguised as casual talk until it cements itself into reality. Wealth, likewise, is not earned by force. It is declared first, and only then does it manifest in form. The mouth always precedes the wallet. Sentence comes before substance. Word comes before wealth. Think for a moment about your own speech. What have you been saying about money? What phrases pass your lips without awareness? I can't afford it. Money slips through my fingers. It's always hard. Do you see the hidden spell in each of those sentences? You are using divine creative authority in reverse, commanding the very reality you dread. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine waking each morning and declaring with confidence, I am wealthy. I am supplied. I am the voice of divine provision. These words are not hopeful affirmations. They are royal decrees. They carry the same force that keeps planets orbiting and tides moving. When spoken consistently without contradiction, they summon abundance in ways logic cannot explain. Opportunities appear. Money flows through unexpected channels. People are drawn to support your vision. It looks miraculous from the outside, but it is simply the law of words in action. Behind every success, story lies this principle, whether understood consciously or not. The wealthy spoke their identity before they lived it. They declared success before they achieved it. They used their mouths as instruments of command rather than as mirrors of limitation. They legislated their future through words, and reality conformed. This is why Scripture instructs, let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich. It does not tell the weak to describe their weakness, or the poor to confess their poverty. It commands the exact opposite. Your voice is not a reporter of circumstances. It is the architect of them. The first part of reclaiming your financial destiny is this. Repossess your tongue. Refuse to speak casually about lack. Cancel every throwaway phrase that reinforces poverty. Stop using your words as entertainment and start using them as legislation. Every sentence you speak is either a key opening the treasury of the universe or a lock, sealing it shut. Say softly, Even now I am abundant. I am supplied. I am wealthy in every way. Feel the resonance of those words. They are not empty. They are blueprints. They are scaffolding in the invisible realm, already constructing the wealth that will soon appear in your visible experience. Understand this deeply. Words precede wealth. The universe is not waiting for your effort. It is waiting for your decree. The moment you align your mouth with your divine identity instead of your circumstances, your financial reality must shift. So guard your speech. Honor your declarations. Speak only from the throne, never from the pit, because your voice is not a casual instrument of communication, to lack or legislating yourself into abundance, canceling contracts with lack. Most people do not realize they are living under invisible contracts agreements they never consciously signed, but have been bound to for years. These contracts are not written on paper, they are written in words repeated over and over until they became law in your subconscious mind and in your reality. Phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy are clauses in the contract of lack. Every time they are spoken, they tighten the chain. Every time they are repeated, they strengthen the agreement. Where did these contracts come from? From family conversations, from cultural traditions, from society's programming. Perhaps as a child you heard your parents sigh about bills and say there's never enough. Perhaps you grew up surrounded by jokes about being broke, warnings not to dream too big, or beliefs that wealth was reserved only for the lucky. Without realizing it, you inherited these contracts. They passed down like family heirlooms, binding you to a pattern of limitation that was never truly yours. But here is the liberating truth. You have the authority to cancel every contract with lack. You do not need a lawyer. You do not need permission. You do not need years of effort. The very same tongue that once spoke agreements with scarcity can declare new agreements with abundance. The same mouth that said, I can't afford it, can now say, I am supplied. The same voice that whispered doubt can now decree wealth. Florence Scoville-Shin taught that words are not descriptions, they are transactions. When you speak lack, you are signing into debt. When you speak abundance, you are writing checks on the universe's infinite treasury. Most people unknowingly spend their lives overdrafting with their speech. They declare limitations so frequently that their accounts remain empty, not because supply isn't available, but because they keep signing contracts that block it. To break these invisible agreements, you must first recognize them. Listen carefully to your own words. Do you say, I'll never get ahead? That is a contract clause. Do you mutter, money is always tight? That is an agreement with struggle. Do you joke, I'm broke? That is a decree reinforcing poverty. Awareness is the first step because what is hidden cannot be canceled. Once you recognize these contracts, the next step is to cancel. Speak this declaration with authority. I cancel every agreement I have ever made with lack. I dissolve every contract with poverty consciousness. I now declare, I am free. I am wealthy. I am supplied. Do not whisper this. Do not say it as a hopeful wish. Say it as a decree, as a legal statement in the court of the universe. Because that is exactly what it is. The moment you cancel, the contract is broken. Poverty consciousness no longer has legal authority over your life, but you must then replace the old agreement with a new one. If you leave the space empty, the old phrases will return. Instead, establish new contracts with abundance. Say daily, I am rich in divine supply. Money flows to me freely. I am supported in perfect ways. I am abundant with money. Each declaration is a signed covenant with prosperity. Each repetition reinforces the bond. This process is not theory, it is law. Just as a written contract binds two parties in the physical world, a spoken contract binds you in the spiritual. The difference is speed. Physical contracts may take weeks to enforce. Spoken spiritual contracts are enforced instantly. Every word you speak is a signature. Every phrase is an agreement. The only question is with whom are you agreeing, lack or abundance? Imagine for a moment that every sentence you speak is written on a scroll in the universe's courtroom. When you say always, I am broke, the scribe records it, and angels of provision are legally bound to withhold wealth because you have decreed it so. But when you say, I am wealthy, the record changes and abundance is commanded to flow. Nothing in your external life shifts until your contracts shift. Your words are the only pens allowed to sign on these scrolls. Think of the generations before you. Perhaps your parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents lived under contracts of lack. They repeated them without knowing the cost. They passed them down, not as curses, but as beliefs they thought were true. You now have the authority to break that cycle. You can cancel every ancestral contract of poverty with a single declaration. You can stop the cycle here and establish a new covenant of abundance that will flow through your family for generations. Say aloud right now, I cancel every contract of lack inherited from my past. I establish a new covenant of wealth, joy, and prosperity for myself and my family. Feel the authority in those words. Feel the weight of centuries of limitation dissolving as you sign a new future with your decree. The truth is, no contract of lack has power over you unless you keep renewing it with your speech. Stop renewing. Stop agreeing. Stop repeating. Your words are your freedom papers. Your declarations are your keys. Cancel lack today and declare abundance into permanence. Remember, you are not bound by circumstance. You are bound by contract. And contracts can be broken the moment you decide to speak differently. The court of the universe awaits your decree. Take the pen of your tongue and write your freedom. The law of I am.